I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
We're frozen. Can you hear me? Kate, can you hear me? All right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry there. Had a horrifying picture there for you all to see. We were frozen. We were dealing with some inner gremlins. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The two or three of you that are here. You've all we were not here on a Sunday night. Now everybody's forgot where they need to come at 9 p.m. during the evenings. Good Lord. If I miss a day, I got people questioning me, wondering what's going on. I got people calling me from all over the place. Do you not do lives anymore? Look, it was Sunday. There wasn't a whole hell of a lot going on. We'd had some plumbing catastrophes over the weekend and just all kinds of things going on. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Kate wants to know how bad of an ass chewing I got from Amber. Nothing tremendously. And here's the funny thing is we've talked twice, I think, since then, since the show. When did we do that? On Friday? But nothing too bad. I'll give you a call, or well, we can talk when this is over, I guess, rather. Nothing major. And as I had said on the show Friday, I think a lot of it was kind of some miscommunications from my point of view, because I send you things and you're aware that the city of Muncie has done what you've requested in the past. She's not aware, I guess, wasn't aware of that. And so there was, I think that there was some misunderstanding on her side. I'll say that. And we explained that, but it wasn't really that bad. I think we got that smoothed over. You didn't send anything else back today? Did you send something else back today for the request or not? I told her I want those, so I think that we're good. So I'll let you know as soon as we get those. What we're trying to get are the invoices for WSP, which is the engineering firm that Adam Leach works for. In his capacity there, he is the contract employee with the city of Muncie for the city engineering job for the, I guess, street superintendent job and the Muncie Sanitary District board member. Although the contract, as we went through, does not list any of those day jobs, does not list anything that he does for a job. So rather strange there. I don't know. We'll see what goes on. I don't know. Hey, share the show with everyone you know. Help spread the word. We got to get people back into it. Look. We got to get back into it. We got a banger, and I'm not going to put on a banger for, well, no, I'm lying. I would put this amazing show on if there were 0 people here. I would do it for 2 of you. I would do it if I was just in my closet with the lights off and nothing running. I would just be doing the show. So no big deal. We have a banger in store for you all tonight. We have a lot of topics to talk about. Hey, K-Mama gets to watch it live. Actually gets to watch it live. That's good. Sorry for being a little late. I was taking care of a few things, and then we had some gremlins in the machine that was not letting me on. But we're here now. We're here live, and we are ready to rock and roll tonight. We're going to be talking about 2 specific topics, 2 different topics. One, we're going to be talking about 2026. Can you believe it? It's just now. We're just now getting into the spring of 2025. 2026 is still like 8-9 months away. That's a whole long time away. But we're going to be talking about 2026, specifically the 2026 election cycle. For those of you that have heard me say you cannot take this year off, this is what I mean. This is why you cannot take the year off. Because people are already starting to plot and plan, and people are already now announcing their intentions to run for office for next year. So 2026, here we come. We're going to be talking about that and how everything is currently going, how everything looks. We're going to be talking about who's on first and all of that thing. So we'll be doing that. And then after that, something special happened in the last week. Elected officials, public officials, government officials, public servants. A lot of times, we question on here, like, how intelligent these people are. Like, are they intelligent? Are they not intelligent? We don't believe they're that intelligent. They seem way dumber than they probably are. I don't know. They don't seem very well put together. So when somebody does something that's good, we really should probably applaud them. And so our itty bitty BB baby lieutenant governor is growing up. Late last week, he learned to count all the way to 3/5. Obviously, I'm being a smartass. What I'm talking about is the weird stance that the lieutenant governor, Micah Beckwith, took last week when coming out and talking about how wonderful the 3/5 compromise was, the law that allowed slave owners, allowed slaves to be counted as 3/5 of a person. And obviously we now know that to not be, that's way ludicrous. Now, this is the problem with Beckwith. is he always does this thing where he opens his mouth and he inserts his foot. It's just like when he always talks about being like this student of history and loving history and loving the marriage of history and politics together and all of this. And then he opens his mouth and he says, J.D. Prescott is right up there with the people who gave their lives storming the beaches of Normandy. And it's like, whoa, what? And it's that same gentleman who says this deal here. So we're going to be talking about that. I'll explain to you kind of what's going on there. And I'm happy to hear that a lot of people are actually coming out. A lot of people on the Republican side, a lot of people on the right, a lot of commentators, pundits, and whatnot are actually coming out and starting to say, like this week and the end of last week, the things that I have been saying about Beckwith for the last couple of months. And so, I'm glad that they're starting to climb aboard the Bilbrey train and realize that Beckwith is not a politician. Beckwith is not a public servant, in my opinion. He was elected to be a public servant, but he's not. He is instead a childish, like man-child, attention-seeking, clout-chasing, influencer-esque wannabe who's chasing his next viral video. And so we'll talk about all of that. And we'll get there. Hey, before we get there, I do want to give a great big a shout out, number one, to what we're going to call him this David Williams, because I know 6 David Williams personally. I know 6 people with the name David or Dave Williams. Well, I guess 7. Actually, I know of a 7th, which would be my grandmother's brother that passed away. Amazingly, in World War II, he would have been one of those men who makes his way to Normandy, survives, and actually was killed a little bit after. David Marvin Williams, so that's one, but he's gone. I've never known him. Obviously, he was killed in World War II, but I know 6 other currently 6 people with the name David Williams. But this David Williams, as we will know him as, I want to give a big shout out to him and his son, who came out and helped cut down the steepest parts of my grandparents' hill. The hills they have in front of their house with the mower and weed eater on Saturday as we were battling a plumbing ordeal. So big shout out to these folks. Get out of here, David. If you need mowing services, hunt up this David Williams on Facebook, or get with me or get with him. We'll figure out a way to get you guys connected. So big shout out to David Williams for that. And then also we have to give out a big shout out also to Mr. Rob Klein for his outstanding plumbing skills and services. I guess we should hold this off until tomorrow. He's got to come back tomorrow and take care of one last little thing. So maybe I should hold off until tomorrow night's show. But now I'll go ahead and give him the plug. A big shout out to Rob Klein for his plumbing services. His personality, my grandparents got along with him grandly, and his never say quit approach to the job at hand. Kind of a jack of all trades. My grandparents woke up early Saturday morning with no water, and after 69 years of being together and fighting all of the fights as a unit there, they were like, this is just not the fight that we're going to tackle this morning. So they were kind of up a creek without some water. And so I got in touch with Rob, and he came out very last minute on a Saturday, which was awesome. And he was beyond fair on price. He got right to work. He knew what he was doing, and he was friendly and courteous. Even when there were a few left turns thrown into the job, he stuck with it and got the job done. So I want to give a massive thank you to Rob Klein and tell everyone in East Central Indiana, if you need work done, plumbing, handyman, work on lawnmowers and things like that, many, many other things, hit up Rob Klein. You can find him on social media, find him on Facebook, and or get in contact with me, and I'll help you get in contact with him. Hey, look, David Williams is back. This David Williams. So I was tooling around on social media last night. We didn't have a show, and I was taking care of a few things. Give me 1 second. Hold on, all sorts of people are. What's going on there? That was weird. Sorry, someone was texting and asking what was happening. No, I'm live. I'm not free. I'm live. Wait a minute. Turn the TV up. Is anybody having audio issues? Can you hear me? Maybe Kate can't. Oh, now she's just now shaking her head. Yes. Can you not hear me? You don't see me. You don't see me. What? Well, then you're not on the right thing then. Yeah. Well, then back out and come back in, because if you don't see me on screen, well, get all the way out of it and come all the way back in. Okay. Yeah. I mean, because we've been on for 20 minutes by now. 20 minutes. Yeah. Yep. Just here live, loud and clear. Everybody else can see me and hear me. So you guys are doing something weird. You haven't pressed play or something. All right. Well, text me and let me know. Bye. See, if I don't go live every time I'm supposed to, like, people literally forget how to get it. That's nuts. So anyways, last night we had everything going on, so we didn't do the show. And I was looking through social media, and I noticed something strange. I'm going to pull this up here and let you see what I happened to see last night. That was interesting to me. I noticed a post made by Delaware County Counselor for District 3, Mr. Matt Kantz. And I noticed that his Delaware County Council page had been updated. And his Delaware County Council page now says Matt Kantz, Elephant Commissioner. Interesting. Now, this is something that says, I'm grateful to represent District 3 on Delaware County Council. It says Matt Kantz for Delaware County Commissioner updated their cover photo yesterday at 1917, which is 7/17. And let's see here. We've got a couple people that have commented in this. Got a couple hands up. The sheriff says this, yes. Ryan Webb says finally. Someone says let's go. Troy Tackett, I thought all he did was like stuff, but he says absolutely. That's amazing. Jeff Stanley says let's go. We'll talk about Jeff Stanley here in a moment too. Andrew Pop says I got a check for you, although I thought Andrew Pop lived in North Carolina now, so I think that's interesting. I don't know. Jason Gassaway says, oh, hell yeah. Now, Jason Gassaway is a Yorktown town councilor. I've been under the impression that Gassaway was possibly going to run for Delaware County Council, but now I'm starting to hear that maybe he won't be. I hope Gassaway runs. I want him to run. He needs to run. I hope he runs. I want him to run. Gassaway, if you're out there listening to this, run for the council. He would be running in District 1. So this is interesting. It's Matt Kantz, commissioner. Now, I have been saying for the last 6 months that Kantz was going to run for commissioner of District 3 commissioner. I've been saying that was going to happen. We'll talk about District 3 here in just 1 second. We'll talk about District 33. So I saw this, and then last night I was like, well, hell, I should probably just go ahead and make a statement about this. So, hey, once again, we were right. We here at the Political Spotlight were right. Chalk another win up for Kristopher Bilbrey and the Political Spotlight. We were correct yet again. Matt Kantz appears to have announced his candidacy for Delaware County Commissioner District 3 in the upcoming 2026 election cycle. But he's not the only person that's announced here in Delaware County. Quietly over the last couple of weeks, several folks have made their announcements like a slow rollout type of a thing. Now, we'll have to wait and see if this will be just a run and he'll have an easy shot, or will this be a fight for the seat in the May 2026 primary against currently elected Delaware County Commissioner Shannon Henry? Or will Shannon Henry not seek re-election again? Only time will tell. We don't know. Given Delaware County Republican Party's past efforts to avoid primary races, it will be interesting to see how this plays out. It's been alleged that Tim Overton, the new GOP chair for Delaware County, has told some interested Republicans that the party is still going to try to discourage primary races, which, if true, is unfortunate because that is just more of the same bullshit that the old party leadership pulled, and that is not how the party should be running. They should be encouraging other people to run, people to come in, be part of the team, get a good ticket in place, and if two people are going to run, have at it and let the best person win. Again, time would tell. Get people interested in voting. Get people out. Get people a choice. Before moving on, I will have to interject here and say this is interesting because, like James King in 2024, Shannon Henry in 2026 needs to go. If the election comes down to Kantz versus Henry, well, that's not a choice for me. I will absolutely 100% back Kantz all the way. That said, I have had a love-hate relationship with Kantz's performance on the council. Personally, I like Matt Kantz as a human being. Publicly, his positions and his performance on the council, I've not been so in love with. He's always really been too much of a fence rider. And if he does, in fact, make this run, he's going to need to nut up and understand that he works for the public and not that, in fact, he lords over them and that people should be happy with that. If Kantz wins, and I'm going to be very clear about this, if Kantz wins, we will have to watch carefully that he and current Commissioner Stephen Brand don't quickly be that all-powerful duo that Commissioners King and Henry pulled off for so long. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, if and when that's needed. Kantz's run for commissioner is interesting because if Kantz runs for commissioner, he will then be leaving his seat open. However, that shouldn't be much of an issue because I suspect that outgoing Delaware County Sheriff Tony Skinner will more than likely be now announcing his intentions to run for District 3 County Council in the very near future. I think that he'll be announcing that soon. And I will certainly back Skinner in running for that seat. If Skinner runs for County Council District 3, that will be a good thing. I have no problem with that. This all, of course, comes just days after Ryan Webb announced that he will be running against his friend and current elected county councilor in District 4, Jim Mokel, Mr. Steak. I personally like Jim Mokel as a human, but he's not shown me much as a counselor. A lot of times he seems like he's waking up in the middle of a meeting, doesn't really know what's going on. He doesn't say a whole lot. The questions he asks are always several steps behind where they are, and I don't know what's going on there because I know that he's very astute. I don't think that the council is what he thought it would be, honestly. And I like him as a person. But in the race between Webb and Mokel, I would back Webb. And so that's that. As far as Delaware County Council's District 1 and 2, they are both currently held by Dan Flanagan and William Hughes, respectively. I'm still waiting to hear what will shake out concerning those two seats. I'm very certain that Flanagan will run for re-election. And as certain as I am that Flanagan will run for re-election, I'm almost that certain that Hughes will not. That leaves one of those seats open and one of those seats with an incumbent running. Time will tell what happens there. I've heard that Jason Gassaway was going to run against Flanagan, but now I'm hearing that maybe he's decided not to. I hope he decides to. Time will tell what goes on. Of course, also last week or the week before, currently elected Delaware County prosecuting attorney Eric Hoffman has also recently announced intentions to seek a third term as prosecutor. This time, however, he will be running as a Delaware County Republican and not as a Delaware County Democrat. While some have given Hoffman grief for that switch, there are a couple factors that I think people are forgetting. First, locally, it simply does not matter. Party affiliation does not matter the way that it does at the state and at the national levels. Secondly, specifically in the position of prosecutor. Crazy. Well, hello, welcome to the party. Secondly, specifically in the position of prosecutor, politics should not matter, period. Under Hoffman, politics have not played a role in how he has ran the office. It has not mattered if someone was a Republican or Democrat, or if he was a Republican or Democrat or whatever. That's just simply not mattered. And thirdly, Hoffman is a favorite among local Republicans and Democrats alike, a status that he has maintained since before his first run for office. He's good at his job. He's fair. He's honest. And that's all there is to it. He's never had a primary or general election challenger as a Democrat, and I honestly don't look for that to change now that he's running from the other side. Personally, I believe this switch has nothing to do with state or national politics. A lot of people are being like, oh, it's because of this or Trump or this has nothing to do with state or national politics. I believe it has to do with how he believes or how he sees the local parties shaping up, stacking up. Again, I've not had that conversation with him, and that's just my personal thoughts. Hoffman has my full support regardless of party affiliation. He could run as a Democrat, a Republican, a Libertarian, an Independent, a Whig, a Socialist. He could run from any other affiliation. And based off of my personal relationship with him, based off of my understanding of working with him, based off of my understanding of how he's ran the office in the last 2 terms, he would have my support again. So that's that. As mentioned above, Delaware County Sheriff Tony Skinner is in his final term as sheriff, which is sad because he's done a fantastic job. However, his chief deputy, Jeff Stanley, has already announced his intention to seek the top spot in Delaware County Sheriff's Department in next year's election. And this is something that I can 110% get behind. I will back him. Now, the question is, will Democrat David Williams, not pink David Williams, not this David Williams, not Republican David Williams, but will the Democrat David Williams choose to run again for sheriff against Stanley? I don't know if that'll happen or not. I don't know. David Williams ran against Skinner the first time. No. Excuse me. David Williams ran against Skinner in the last election as a Democrat. Tony had the primary challenge of James King, and then in November he had the Democrat challenge of David Williams. Again, not our David Williams here. David Williams. David Williams is a long-time Delaware County Sheriff's deputy, canine officer, canine handler. Good guy. I have no issues with him. I mean, I think he's a fine individual. But when it came between Sheriff's Deputy Williams or Skinner, my vote was with Skinner. And again, if it's between Williams and Stanley, my vote would be with Stanley. So that's just not because I have any issue with him, but just that's where we are currently. There are 2 Delaware County Circuit Courts that will be up for grabs in 2026. Those courts are Circuit Court 4 and Circuit Court 5. I have heard of a couple names that could be interested in running, but I'm not currently at a point where I will name those names or I feel comfortable releasing those names just yet. I need to nail a few other things down first. Circuit Court 4 Judge John Fike and Circuit Court 5 Judge Thomas Cannon both will not seek re-election to their respective benches, so this should be an interesting election cycle for Delaware County's judicial system. The Delaware County Clerk's Office, being term limited, it will be open for the taking as Rick Spangler is in his second and final term, thank God. However, I haven't really heard much about anyone interested in running for that office. There was one individual that I thought could be good for it, but recently they have had some health issues, and I don't know, I honestly don't know if that person would be able to make a full run for the office. I don't know. Other than that, I don't know anyone that would be willing to. For the longest time, the person that was supposed to run for the office after Spangler was Talby. The Talby at the animal shelter. But sometime in the last couple of years, he had some kind of falling out with Spangler. He left the clerk's office, went to work in the auditor's office, and after a couple of short weeks or maybe a month, 2 months, he left the county government altogether to take a department head position under city government under Mayor Dan Ridenour. So I don't see him now running for clerk. I think that ship has sailed. So I don't know what's going to happen with the clerk's office. That's an important office. So people should be starting to decide what they're going to do there. The Delaware County Recorder's Office will also be on the ballot in 2026, and I assume that the currently elected recorder, Jan Smoot, will seek re-election as she is currently only in her first term. That office is term limited, but she has another term. So I assume she'll run. Yes, this David Williams, you're right. Skinner beat 2 Democrats last time. He beat King in the primary, although King is a Democrat, not really a Republican. And then he beat your namesake in the November election. Wild times. Next up is Delaware County Assessor's Office, which is also going to be on the ballot in 2026. However, this office is not subject to term limits, and thank God, because if it were subject to term limits, then we wouldn't have the man that is 500,000 years old, although he doesn't look a day over 40, James Carmichael, who is, I'm assuming, going to run for the office again, because I think he's the only person that wants the job. That's the assessor's office. Delaware County Coroner's Office, it is term limited. It is up in 2026, and I'm reasonably sure that the current coroner, who is in his first term, Gavin Green, I fully believe that he will seek his second and final term. He's done a great job as coroner. Got nothing to complain about. And then that leaves on the county-wide, Delaware County-wide ballot, the Delaware County Auditor's Office. And that office, as you know, is currently held by Ed Carroll Jr. He is eligible to run for what would be his second and final term. However, I would be surprised if he does so. He is facing so much, it would be shocking if he ran. In fact, if he does run, I'm going to have to hit him hard. We're going to come after him hard. And there's still an investigation that I'm looking into concerning his business partner and their actions. He's still facing whatever's going on with him, himself with his family. And there's a lot at play there. Plus, all of the other just week in and week out bumbling, foolish mistakes that Ed has made. So, yeah, he'll run. I almost want him to. I almost want him to. I think that would be interesting. So we'll see. That leaves the following national and state offices that will appear on Delaware County citizens' ballots in 2026. United States Congressional Representative from Indiana's 5th District that is currently being held by Victoria Spartz. I would be shocked if she runs again. I have heard that Chuck Goodrich will run again. We'll have to wait and see what goes on there. I'm sure there will be several people that will run. Will Raju run again? That would be interesting. If he does, we'll get to play that song once a week for the entire run. The entire 7-minute long album version with the extended sitars and the droning wow, all that stuff. It'll be amazing. It'll be great. I heard Ravi Shankar played on that, but I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Chuck Goodrich, so I hope. Listen, I it would be interesting if Raju ran again, because maybe I'll play that song here in a minute. No, I'm just kidding. It's stuck in my head. I can only hear it. Okay, so then that takes us to the Indiana state races. Indiana State Senate District 26, which is currently held by Scott Alexander. I am positive that turd will seek another election, another term, because shitty politicians never go away on their own. I hope he is challenged and beaten, but time will tell. He always looks cross-eyed in every picture he takes. I'm telling you, it's so crazy. Indiana State Representative, District 33. Dumbass Prescott. Like, I don't really have to say anything here, do I? I mean, he sucks. I'm sure he'll run for re-election. Hopefully someone runs against him that can beat him. I have heard that maybe there's a couple possibilities. I don't really know. I'm hoping someone runs that can beat him. I'm hoping that someone that has experience that's ran in other elections, that's won other elections, would be willing to step up and just drop this sack of crap. But I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. District 33 is a weird district. Randolph County doesn't really like JD, even though JD is from Randolph County. You've got like it's weird, right? And specifically because of what's happened from this Senate Bill 1 and the way that he lied to like Kendall and Casey's audience and all of us and everybody at that rally and all the weird crap that he's done over the last 9 months. JD has done really weird stuff. I don't know. So I hope maybe the HRCC's done with him. I hope they're done with him. I don't know. I'm assuming that on the Democrat side of District 33, John Bartlett will run. But I have to say this. This is something that concerned me with Bartlett in the last two runs. Okay. Bartlett came out strong in the primary, announcing like openly that he was running against Prescott, that he was the answer for Prescott to be defeated. And that is a little, I don't know if he was doing it on purpose or if it was just accidental. I mean, it's like kind of technically true, but it's not true in the primary. So I feel like it confused people. I don't want to throw people off because in the primary, if Prescott has a primary challenger, so get this, right? If I'm Bartlett, I would rather run against the person in November that beats Prescott, because then it's an open race and I have just as good a chance as that person does. But if I say something that helps JD defeat a primary challenger, then in November, I, Bartlett, am facing JD and I have a harder chance. Nothing should be so concerning that it's worse than another Prescott term where he... No, I absolutely agree. But we've got to make it to where we can get there. Like I'm absolutely with you, but I want Bartlett to make sure that he's telling people if Bartlett's out running hard in the primary, which he should be, but he needs to make sure people are aware that in the May election, he is not Prescott's challenger. Because I personally know of just an individual, but I've heard others talk about this, that they were confused and that they didn't like JD. I don't know, and they went in and they looked for Bartlett's name with the Republican ballot. They didn't see Bartlett's name and they just saw JD, but they just left it blank. Which, like, look, leaving it blank is not a vote for JD, but it's also not a vote for the person that would be a primary challenger. So I'm just saying, let's just make sure that people are not confused. We want people to be as educated about the ballots and who's going to be on them when they go to poll them as possible. That's my only thing. Yeah, I mean, Bartlett's unopposed in the primaries most of the time. I think the first time he wasn't, I don't think. I don't know. But that's just, I don't know, that's something, just a little thought. A little thought. We can mold that as we go along. Okay, moving on from there. Indiana State Representative District 34, Sue Arrington. I don't know what's going to happen there. They've been saying for the last 2 or 3 elections that she wasn't running again. And then as we get right up to the deadline, she files. I assume she'll run again. I'd be shocked if she doesn't. I don't know what's going to happen there. Dale Basham won't run against her because he's got a spot on the city council, so that won't happen. Will Sue Dillon run against her again? I don't know. I feel like the Republican Party really threw Sue Dillon under the bus. They did nothing to help her in any way. It was wild what they did. Yeah. That's it, Brad. That's it. And look. Hey, if I'm a candidate, I'm going to be out there knocking doors as soon as possible as I can. I don't have a problem. I would just tell people, hey, I'll be facing whoever it is in November. So that's all. I got I got no beef with John. We talk with John quite a bit on here. He could be watching. I don't know. I've got no issue with him. Just that. Lastly is Indiana State Representative District 35, Elizabeth Roway. Of course, Brad right here is probably going to run against her, right? Are you going to run against Roway again? Brad is a Democrat here in the comments, and I don't know if he's going to run against her. He ran against her last time or 2 times ago, or maybe both. I don't know. I got to say this about Roway. She'll more than likely seek re-election. Why wouldn't she? It helps her. She's got her hands in a lot of pies. She's got her hands on a lot of money. She's a turd too. She is absolutely a turd. And honestly, she's only like a couple clicks away from being on Prescott's level, in my opinion. I mean, her and Prescott could be the same person in my eyes. They're both ridiculous. And I don't know any one that would be stepping up to challenge her on the Republican ticket. But I would absolutely hardcore support Brad if he. Yeah, that's okay. That's right. I would absolutely support Brad. Brad's a good dude. We're talking about everybody. We're going down the list there, Ryan Webb. We announced your announcement. Obviously, I was just going down that list that I wrote up last night, or this morning rather, and just talking about everybody. So listen, folks. David Williams. This David Williams says Randall McAllister is running against Sue Arrington. That's right. Although I don't know anything about Randall McAllister. He all of a sudden just popped up. I don't know anything about him. So, yeah, no problem there, Brad. Listen, this is the current standings in Delaware County as of 10 p.m. I posted this at midnight last night. This is the current ballot as it stands for Delaware County for the upcoming 2026 midterm election cycle. There will be many more updates made to this over the next 9 or 10 months. The filing period will start sometime the first Wednesday in January, and it will run until the first Friday in February. And so you'll have a 30-day window to run. I'm telling you, if you're not making those plans now, if you're not setting up a team now, if you're not sitting down and looking at the calendar and talking about, your walking calendar and when you're going to hold your fundraisers and all of this, if you're not doing that planning now, you're not going to win. There are people that throw in at the last minute, and those people, are maybe independently wealthy and have the money to loan themselves, loan the campaign, or to do all of that. So just keep that in mind. Don't wait down to the last second and say, "Oh, I'm going to create a team." Because if you wait down until February of 2026, and then you start making a team by March or April, you're done. So just keep that in the old brain. So, obviously there were a lot of Republicans on this. I only mentioned 2 Democrats, Sue Arrington and David Williams, the other David Williams. Not our David Williams. Because of the Delaware County Democrats Party's new alignments because of Andrew Dale and because of Joanne McKinney. They will absolutely pack the ballot. They might not have a full ballot, but they will have a busy ballot. They will have a busy ballot. So that's going to be something that we're going to see for the first time in a long time because they've not been doing that lately. So that can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing. We'll just have to wait and see. So keep that in mind. I hope that we'll see more Republicans that'll file to run. I hope that we'll see new people that are running. And as Kate has said, and as a lot of you have said, all the incumbents need to go. Well, I mean, Gavin Green. I'm okay with Gavin Green staying. I'm okay with James Carmichael staying. I'm okay with Eric Hoffman staying. So I can't say that. I can't say all incumbents. A lot of incumbents need to go. Time will tell. We'll talk over this 1,000 more times between now and then. So that's that list. I just thought it was interesting because here we are. I mean, these people are doing it right. They're doing exactly what I'm telling you you need to be doing. They're announcing. They are announcing, and they're getting it out there early. And that's what people need to be doing. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the current rundown on your 2026 Delaware County ballot. I will review those probably. We'll take when next time Catherine's on, we'll review them for Madison County. We'll review them for Henry County. We'll review them for Randolph County. We'll do them for the East Central Indiana area around for the people that care. Okay, so we'll do all of that. No, I have not. I was wanting to message you and ask you what the deal was there. I will send you a message and I'll shoot. Is that person on Facebook, Clinton? Is that what we're saying? Is that person on Facebook? If so, I'll send that person a message as soon as I get off here. I don't know what I'm getting a hold of that person for, but I will get a hold of them. I always like sometimes when I go into things blind. It's kind of fun. Okay, so now I think it would be a good time to move over and talk about our dear friend, the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Indiana. What a weird dude he is, man. So strange. Oh, yes. Okay, I will get in contact with her. Yes, I'm glad you said that, and I will do that. So thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So I want you guys to listen to this. This is Micah's video from last week.
Give you an update on a bill, Senate Bill 289, which is called Unlawful Discrimination Bill. Senator Byrne is carrying that bill. It was in the Senate just a few minutes ago. Well, if you were watching or listening to the Senate, if you were trying to fall asleep and we're trying to get some good background noise on, you might have been listening. The Senate on the Democrat side, they got up and they started talking about how this bill embodies something to the effect of the 3/5 compromise. They were bringing that up. They were saying this is a bad bill because it actually just encourages discrimination, just like the 3/5 compromise, going all the way back to the foundations of our nation. I would like to share with you the 3/5 compromise is not a pro-discrimination compromise. It was not a pro-discrimination or a slave-driving compromise that the founders made. It was actually just the opposite. It was a compromise that the North made with the South. At the time, there were basically 13 independent nations. They had not really created a constitution. They were sort of a European Union-esque nation. And they were saying to the pro-slave states, hey, if you want to count your slaves to have representation, more representation in Congress, we're not going to let you do that. Because they knew that that would codify things like slavery into our nation. And the North stood up to the South. And they said, we're going to, if you're going to count your property, because the South says, hey, this is our property, but we want to count them in the congressional representation. We want to count them in the census. At the time, there was 30,000 people would equal one member of Congress. And so they said, we're going to count our slaves. We're going to get more members of Congress in the South. The North said, you can't do that. So what they came back to the South and they said, fine, if you want to count your property, your slaves as whole people, we're going to count our property. We're going to count our tables. We're going to count our chairs. We're going to count all the stuff that we have in our house. And the South said, well, you can't do that. And they said, well, you're doing it with your property. We're doing it with our property. So what they did is they came up with a 3/5 compromise. They said, you will only get 3/5 of a vote when it comes to your slave. And what that did, it actually limited the number of pro-slave representatives in Congress by 40%. This was a great move by the North to make sure that slavery would be eradicated in our nation. They knew what they were doing. But now here you have Senate Democrats in today's American Republic who do not understand that. They think the 3/5 compromise was something that was a scourge on black people. That's not what it was. And how did we get to this place? We got to this place because of DEI in education. We got to this place because you have professors at woke schools that will not teach the history of what actually happened back in the foundations of our nation. Many, many men and leaders in our nation's history knew how wicked slavery was. They knew that God had created even black people, white people, red people, all people in his image, and they were fighting for equality for all. But they're not taught that today. And that's why you had the Senate Democrats who were getting up talking about the 3/5 compromise like it was some sort of terrible thing in our past. It was not. It actually was the exact opposite that helped to root out slavery and lead us into a more perfect union that we now see where black, white, red, brown, all people can have equal representation under the law. That's what the 3/5 compromise was all about. So don't buy into the DEI radical revisionist history that is happening in today's culture. Know your history. Go back and study the documents. Read them for yourself like I have. Go look them up, and you will find that the 3/5 compromise and many other things like that were designed to make sure that justice was equal for all people, and equality really meant equality for all. So that's what's going on in the Senate today. Glad to keep you updated. Thanks for everyone tuning in and for all you're doing to keep our nation and our state the greatest it can possibly be.
He should have done that in blackface. Kate, come here for a second. Had you heard that?
I had not. I had read about the controversy surrounding it and people's responses to it. I had not actually listened to what he had to say because I was afraid, and it was dumber than I thought it was going to be. The North was not trying to end slavery. The North had a choice in forming the nation. Form a nation or condemn slavery. You cannot do both. They chose to form a nation, and so they gave up ending the slave trade. They gave up all these things in support of slavery, and that were racist, horrible things, and they knew they were racist, horrible things, and they did them anyway because they said that founding the nation was more important.
Okay.
They decided that wasn't the hill they were ready to die.
They weren't going to die on that hill. So
I just he started talking and he got about 30
3/5
words
of the
in,
way through.
and I was 3/5 of the way through, and I was like, oh my god,
Dude, I know. I listened to it twice now, and
I'm
I
so
got
sorry, Kristopher.
I know it's horrible. It's like comically stupid. It's scary. It's dumb. It's crazy. It's crazy. But
This
I
racist
was
policy was actually good because it helped end slavery.
Yes!
What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude. It was nuts to hear that. That's wild stuff. And like he sits there and says it with a straight face. It's like literally like he's being serious with that stuff. And I don't know, man. Like I used to think that like I didn't think he was like used to not think he was dumb. I just thought he was like bad, and now I think he's dumb and bad.
I don't know what history books he's been reading. Bob Jones University?
Yeah, right. Here's the problem with Micah is it's like the thing that he said about JD. There are lots of ways that he could have said. All he wanted to say to me was, when I asked him the question about JD was, I like JD. I'm friends with JD. I know you don't like him, and I support him. I think he's tough. I think he's strong. And there are 10 billion other ways he could have said that. But he
instead
chose...
he opened his mouth and shat on World War II veterans.
He chose to equate JD to veterans from D-Day, which, you know, he's like, oh no, I didn't do that.
Although I do think it might be funny to watch JD attempt to do an impersonation of Mad Jax storming the beach at Normandy. Kilt, sword, and all. Except he's not as brave as Mad Jax, so he'd be the first one shot.
I'm shocked. Well, but this is the same thing about it. It's like the point he's trying to make, like there's a way he could make the point without saying the really crazy dumb shit that he's saying. And it's mind-boggling that he's got people literally around him that don't stop him from doing that kind of stuff. And that's crazy to me. So
I hate to think what he tells his congregation.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, there's only one Charlie Kirk. And see that Ryan right there. I have heard a couple people, you want me to be honest, and this will probably make you have a big head. I've had a couple people say, you know what? Micah is trying to be Ryan. He's trying too hard to be Ryan. Like literally a couple people have said that. And by what they've said is they're like, it doesn't work for him. My thing is, people
didn't he just meet with Charlie Kirk?
Yeah, he did that. Like,
so I mean,
he did
that's
that while he was
in
working.
his head, and that's in his head, and Charlie Kirk is good at what he does because Charlie Kirk is very well read, very well educated, and knows this stuff. So he can point out things that make sense.
He's quick.
They at least make sense.
Yeah, he's quick on his feet.
Yes.
And he's able to you know, make arguments and comments on the fly, you know.
but based in truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not trying to rewrite history to make it fit his right-wing agenda.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just still try to get over the we did a racist thing, but it's a good thing. I know that's an oversimplification, but that's the gist.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking here, okay, because I wanted people to know that are out there that are saying, well, this is just Bilbrey beating up on Micah, and he's done this from the beginning, yada, yada, yada. Well, his good buddy, Rob Kendall, remember, Kendall and Micah are good friends. They had this, Kendall had some very harsh commentary for his good buddy today. And I want you guys to listen to this. There are a couple things I want you to hear from Kendall. And then there is a comment that I want you to hear from Tony Katz. And Tony Katz just absolutely flays Beckwith open. So I want you guys to hear this. Let me get this queued up here to the right area. So you know it's not just me being mean to somebody that I think is kind of a tool bag. And I'll explain to you why I say that here in a minute.
Correct. You cannot be
both
a pundit and a politician.
We're too far.
And whichever one you pick, you'll be very good at.
Stop. But
The Advent commercial. Done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine.
correct.
You cannot be.
Done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at adventknows.com.
To Rob Kendall.
When we talk about
Here we
sending
go.
money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels
My government would never lie to me, would they?
on 93 WYPC.
Casey, I received a piece of advice years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it really changed my life forever.
Okay, what's that?
And this person told me, they said, you can be a pundit
Mm-hmm.
or you can be a politician.
Correct.
You cannot be
Both.
a pundit and a politician.
Mm-hmm.
And whichever one you pick.
Now pause here. I don't know who told Kendall this. I don't know who told Rob this, but so you guys are aware. Well, I ran for Delaware County clerk when I was 19 years old in 2001 because I was pissed off about something that the clerk at that point then said. And I was pissed off, so I ran, and I ran a hard-ass campaign. I got beat, but I ran, and I'd always been involved. I was all involved afterwards. I then lived a life, and in 2010 moved to Winchester. In 2015, I ran for city council in Winchester, and I lost. And I had every intentions on running for city council again. After I lost, sometime between when I lost and the next election, I started doing this. First, I started doing it solely in Winchester. Then people started reaching out to me. I started paying attention to Muncie politics again because obviously I've always been interested in Muncie because this is where I was from originally. And so I would talk about Muncie every now and then, but I was going to do both. I was going to run and I was going to do this. And then when I moved over here, when I moved back to Muncie, and I was not going to run in Winchester again, and when I was over here, I was like, people ask me all the time, why don't you run for commissioner? Why don't you run for council or this or that? And I tell people, because I feel like I can do more good doing what I'm doing. calling people out, bringing people information, keeping people informed. I have more of an impact doing what I do than if I was the Ryan Webb vote. Look right there. Look right there. Ryan said, I've had people tell me before, they said, you can't be Bilbrey and elected official at the same time. Pick one. I wasn't great at either. You're an idiot. You were good. Cola Twinkie. I love that. I don't know what the hell that is. You know, you love talking about trunk shrimp, man. Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. Listen, I tell people now, there ain't no way in hell I would run for office. First of all, I'm not going to kiss anybody's ass. I don't want to do that thing. And when I heard Rob say this morning, I was like, yes, people told me that very same thing. It's great. It's wonderful. So, all right. And this is about Beckwith. All right. So listen to this.
You'll be very good at, but you have to pick one.
Correct.
And this came to me at a time where I was considering running for state senate, but I also had an opportunity to go back to radio. And I was weighing what I wanted to do. And I thought, well, would there be a way, would there be a world where I could do both of these things? And this person gave me that piece of advice because they said the jobs require two different attitudes and two different ways of dealing with people and two different ways of getting a desired outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And that has stayed with me for years. And I have watched politicians, especially in the new social media era that we live in, who have tried.
I don't know who that is.
Do not understand that and have tried to do both of these things at the same time, and it never works out well for them.
Yeah, and you're talking about the lieutenant governor right now and how you feel like perhaps he's wading into the pundit waters, and
he isn't waiting. He's jumped off the diving board and yelled cannonball and is totally in the deep end.
Okay, so he was defending Senate Bill 289, and he argued that it rightfully targets DEI initiatives that promote ideological conformity.
Okay, so let's reset this. So Micah Beckwith is lieutenant governor. He is, technically the president of the Senate, right? Like he oversees that's one of the few jobs they haven't taken away from him, is that he oversees the Senate. It calls the order, whatever.
He gets up here to Tony's comment, and then we'll turn us off.
There was this bill dealing with DEI.
Mm-hmm.
It had passed. The Democrats, as they always do, make these ridiculous assertions related to DEI, by the way, the Democrats are proving they don't want to be in office. They're proving that as bad a managers as the Republicans are with fiscal stewardship, if you just get out of the way on the social stuff, if you just stop being insane people on the social stuff, you really would have a good chance to start winning some elections, but they prove time and time again they're not interested in that. So they're mad about this bill that would eliminate DEI and get people back to being judged on the merits and their abilities and all these other things. And so they're throwing out ridiculous things as they always do. And then they start comparing this bill to the 3/5 compromise.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who don't know, most of our listeners are very astute in world history and American history. And they know that the 3/5 compromise, when the country was being put together, the 3/5 compromise was compromise on how the founders came up with how to deal with slavery. And that meant, because the southern states wanted them counted as full people because of representation in Congress, the northern states said, wait a second, we're not going to let you stack the deck if you're not going to let these people be free people. We're not giving you the full freight. Ultimately they came up with that a slave was counted as 3/5 of a person.
Mm-hmm.
So the Democrats in 2025 are trying to compare anything to slavery. It's just like Nazis or Hitler or anything else, right? It's nothing would be that bad. But of course, the Democrats had to go there. They're comparing this bill to the 3/5 compromise. And instead of just doing the job of passing the bill, which the bill passed, by the way, Micah doesn't have a vote on any of this unless there's a tie.
The bill
Senate.
passed.
The governor has no vote.
And Micah still felt like he wanted to.
Over with and done and approved. By the way, it's not like it's on the fence. It's not like
it's insane.
Really whip some votes. Like you should have been doing with property taxes. He decides he's going to go back to his office and cut a video about this.
So I'm wondering, there was an emotional debate happened on the floor. Did he cut that video in between the debate and the vote, or was it right after?
I don't know, but either way, it's not like you're not Taylor Swift. It's not like you have a social media presence where you're going to cut a video is just instantaneously going to.
But Micah thinks that. No, I disagree with Rob. Micah thinks exactly the opposite. Micah thinks that he can go and do that, and he's going to have that, and everyone's going to be like, oh, look at this. I don't think that he realizes that more and more people are starting to be like, what is this dude's major malfunction? Like, I know that there are a couple of fangirls in every county, the delegate people that still are the hangers on and still praying for him nightly and thinking that he's doing God's work, but he's not. He seriously is the clout chasing weirdo that thinks he's gonna go, viral. He's probably doing TikTok dances while he's walking his ass to Senate. He's got Casey's husband holding the phone as he's doing all the latest TikTok dances, trying to go viral.
Sway people, and they know, as the session is proven, they know exactly what the votes are going to be at when anything goes on the floor. They know exactly. They caucus for hours behind closed doors. They know exactly how the votes are going to go.
Yeah, the bill did pass with both chambers. I'm wondering if part of this was because there was this debate on the floor, and because he doesn't have the opportunity to get in on that debate, he wanted his voice heard, his opinion heard on this issue.
That's not his job. If he wanted that job, he should have run for senator.
Waiting in on the pundit side.
Right. So here is so he goes back to his office and he does this video, he's sitting on the desk in his office. He's got like his shirt rolled. He's not wearing a suit per se. He's got a tie, but he's got his sleeves that look like rolled up in the video. Here is part of the video.
The Senate on
Braun to censure him. It's, why are you doing
with the South at the time? There were
I can't listen to it again.
Independent nations. They had not really created a constitution.
All
they
the
were
way
sort
through.
Of a European Union-esque nation, and they were saying to the pro-slave states, "Hey, if you want to count your slaves to have representation, more representation in Congress, we're not going to let you do that."
Okay. If you want to be a history teacher, that's
right.
fine.
Yeah.
It's not whether he's right or wrong about this. It's, why are you doing this?
Though, and see, this is the thing that I don't get. This is why every elected official, I think, has this thing where they don't understand shit like this. Because if he would have done what Rob said with the Senate Bill 1, if when all of a sudden when they started screwing it over and not making it Braun's actual plan that was going to actually help people, if instead of saying veto it while he's secretly signing it, if he would have taken the bill and burned it on fire filming that would have been a viral moment. That would have made national news. That would have been a big thing. That would have been a big statement. But this just gets him in trouble. They say there's no such thing as bad publicity. But this is kind of bad publicity.
Why did you feel the need to go do this thing? Because, of course, as soon, it's like, again, it's comparing somebody to Nazi or Hitler or whatever. The moment you do it, the moment you in any way justify anything that had anything to do with slavery, it's not whether he's wrong or not. You have to know what the response is going to be. And it has gone national, Fox News, Newsweek,
Washington
AP,
Post.
all of these people have picked it up. There's a big backlash. People are calling on Braun to censure him, condemn him, whatever. It's not whether he's right or wrong. It comes off as, because the thing had passed or was going to pass, he knows as the president of the Senate what's going to happen.
That's what I'm telling you. He wanted to weigh in and give his opinion on it.
Comes off as a guy who was more interested in having his face in front of the camera on something he wants to weigh in on rather than effective governing.
Yes.
Who did we just talk about this with? Jim Banks.
Do your job.
We said with Jim Banks. Micah's smart. Micah knows that's going to be a divisive issue. He knows it's going to be all over the internet. He knows the right Twitter is going to be all for it or social media. He knows the left is going to hate him, just like Banks knew when he cut that video on that guy who got fired because of Doge.
It was going to get attention.
But does it help the thing you're trying to do?
Is he trying to elevate his name recognition versus governing? That's the big question. So,
ding, ding, ding.
He picked the wrong forum in which to do this. This is a nuanced conversation. He's got that podcast. He's talked about it before. So many people aren't going to sit through a 3-minute video.
Right.
And listen to the facts. Their feelings are going to get in the way of this.
I thought
they're going to hear what they want to hear.
Because it's not that he's wrong when he's talking about what actually happened and why, but Micah is a very smart guy. He knows the moment he puts that video out that people are not going to be talking about the details of the conversation.
Correct.
It's going to come out that the lieutenant governor appears to be on the side of saying that black slaves should have counted as 3/5 of a person. He knows that.
It's not what he said, but people aren't going to take the time to listen to it.
All right. Tony had a take on this morning.
Listen to this.
Really well done. Can we play a little bit of Tony's take on it this morning?
Sure.
Yes.
As a baseline of history, he's correct. And if you listen to him, he's correct. But there are 2 problems. 3. First, it was unbelievably sloppy in its presentation. And Lieutenant Governor, you don't have to agree with me. I don't actually care. I'm right. It was sloppy. Second, the key to this conversation is, why are you engaging? What's wrong with you? Is there nobody on your staff to tell you to shut up already? Does Mike Braun not know how to walk into your office and say, sit down, be quiet, put some more hair product in, and don't say a word for the rest of the week? Is there nobody to guide you, to help you? Why are you having this conversation? Oh, I'm Micah Beckwith. I'll explain to them why they're not right. They're wrong on the premise.
That's right.
Why are you giving them credence? You want to talk about immaturity and failing on Politics 101? This is it. Oh, and number 3, Lieutenant Governor, when you're sitting and having a conversation with me, don't be swinging your right leg up and down like you're waiting for your mom to bring you some ice cream. In this video, you look like a child. Present yourself better, sir. It's going to help you in the long run.
He's right, because governing, there is a way you govern. When I was an elected person, I behaved, my principles weren't any different. The things I was for weren't any different. But there was a way I handled myself that is different than I do here today. Micah's great at those videos. Micah will be a great television personality or podcaster or whatever when he's done with politics. But
ding, 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 ding. Right there. Right there. Right there. That's the problem I have. This is all being done for the wrong reason. This is all being done for the wrong reason. It's being done for the next big thing. Now, Beckwith probably thinks, oh, that's being governor. Let me tell you, Beckwith is not going to be a good governor because he doesn't know what it takes to govern. He doesn't know what it takes to lead. He's not a leader. He thinks he's a social media influencer, a viral star, he's got clout. He doesn't know when to shut the hell up. That's absolutely true too. So, that you Cola Twinkie, that's so bizarre. I love that name. Is this Stumblefoot? Cola Twinkie, are you Stumblefoot? I would think that would be you. Unfortunately, Micah was catapulted to the number 2 position in Indiana from a simple library board position. Now he's making his growing pains as an official in much larger stage, he will get it right. I hope. My fear is that he continues to just make these gaffes one after the next, after the next, after the next. And I just, I don't know. Time will tell. I just think that this was a really bad look, especially because for the fact that everything that we do on the right, we're called racist, we're called bigots, and then you do this thing. It's like the whole Elon Musk wave or hand gestures he was doing. I listen. I'm gonna piss you all off, but some of you off. I don't think that Musk was Hitler. I don't think that's what he was doing. I think that Musk is a very disorganized, can't control his body, doesn't know what space he's in, and just does stupid shit. And it looked bad. And then it's all this bullshit over nonsense, and it gets in the way of getting actual things done. And I feel like the problem here, he compared, hold on, pull that back up. He compared slaves to chairs, open mouth, insert foot, and keep jamming it in. Yeah, that's just the same thing. It's like he pulled up in the Tesla and was like, "Look at this! I have my property here. It's a chair." Your boy will have to reach out and offer some mentor type guidance to how to navigate this new world. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really interested to see if their friendship has been tainted. So I'm interested to know, number one, is JD and Micah still friends? Because that seems to have kind of gone away. You don't see a whole lot of that happening anymore. I know that Rob and JD are done. I don't know why that was ever a thing. Rob should have known better. I told Rob. Rob knew it. Rob and I had a falling out because of it. Now I think things are starting to be smooth back over there. But Micah and JD, I think they have had a falling out. And now I believe, it's just like when Rob called Micah out about the Tesla thing. You could hear in the middle of that interview, like a light switch, Micah was mad. And it was like Micah was trying to hurry up and get off the phone. It was like, dude, you're going to finish up the segment here, man. But Micah was just like, yep, nope, yep, nope. And then it was just gone. You could tell he was pissed. He is not a person that likes to be challenged. He doesn't care if the left is challenging him. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about that. He does not like to be challenged by the people that he looks up to or the people that he believes are his friends. You need to try to do it, Ryan. Reach out to him. I texted him the other day on what I texted him about. Something, and he texted me back like a shrug emoji, and I was like, it was about that Tesla. It was about the Tesla, and I was like, dude, a shrug. I'm getting a shrug emoji from the lieutenant governor of the state of Indiana. Are you kidding me? Like, what a world we live in. So yeah, you might have to reach out to him and give him a few pointers. Still Micah loyalist. I don't know. I don't know. I think he's in way over his head, and he doesn't realize that because he's still he thinks it's great because he's using it for all of this quote unquote assumed clout. So that was the big shakeup. That of course happened last week, and everything's happening now. He's been getting hit over the weekend and then into this morning. So there you go with Micah learning to count to 3/5. And I think that's interesting. Rob had expectations of Micah when he was elected. Yeah, absolutely. as he should. Now, that was my fear. My fear was hearing the way that Rob had those same expectations of JD, even though he knew JD was a punk and he knew JD would never live up to those expectations. And we gave him proof after proof after proof, all these different examples on why JD would disappoint him. And he still, one more time, and that was for Micah, bowed down to JD, and he saw that JD led him astray. Okay, cool. He lived up to that. I was happy when I heard Rob call Micah out because of the way that they were acting. I didn't think that would happen. And then the fact that Casey, her husband, is the communications director for Beckwith, I'm like, yeah, man, they worked themselves into a, really bad situation here. That would be like Kate being like, yeah, I divorced Niles and married Dan Ridenhour. I hope you're okay with that. He was a city councilor. Rob was a city councilor. Brad, did you not know that? Do you not know that? Did you not know that? Oh, yeah. Jim, her husband, Jim, she calls him the dude. They did this whole big thing. It was crazy because the whole election, everybody knew that Rob was going towards Braun even before he announced it. But I always said that I felt that Casey was pushing it really hard, was pushing Braun. And then like the week before the balls, when they had all of them before, like the week or two before the inauguration, she did this great big thing on the show where she dropped the news and said that, because if you remember, they were talking about Micah had offered the spot to Rob, and everybody was like, ooh, is Rob going to leave? Is Rob going to go and be the communications director for Micah Beckwith? And it was like a joke because obviously Rob wasn't going to do that. And then they came in and she was like, well, the news is Jim has done this and he's did this and he's did this. And as of last Friday, he signed to be the communications director for Micah Beckwith. And I was like, oh my God. Like, now you have to have a disclaimer for every segment in which you talk about Beckwith or really Braun even, because like your bread and butter is coming from that office, So that's really crazy to me. I just, I don't know. Yeah, crazy. Rob was Brownberg council president, according to, that he was for 4 years. And he did a lot of good. He was the same when he was on the council as he is now. I mean, as far as how he felt about things, outspoken, and did a good enough job on the council. There are people that take shots at him on his time for a couple different things, but it is what it is. All right, let's see. Joan Ashley. Yeah, that's that is true. That's funny. That's hilarious, Joan. Yeah, Kate, she tried hard to justify him saying all that crap. That's exactly right. Yeah, it's gross to go back and listen to her preface, like the reason this is all okay. It was like, no, this is not okay. It's absolutely not okay. So yeah, it's crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Please smash that like button before you leave. That would be fantastic. If you could do that for us, we would be very grateful. Share the show with everyone you know. We will be back tomorrow. We'll be back here at 9 p.m. on the dot tomorrow. You guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a great Tuesday. Take care. God bless each and every one of you. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.